Oh, is it?
I
You
love
don't like the
Damon.
Wayans brothers?
I love Damon Wayans. I think he's a genius. But the other Wayans brothers, I don't really
The
care
Wayans.
as much about.
They're all funny.
I'm curious about the Wayans family because they had so much to do with In Living Color. Like that was one of my out of all the shows, all the sketch shows, it was In Living Color first, and then it was Mad TV. I never got into Saturday Night Live. Even to this day, I'm not really into it.
Saturday Night Live, and then see, I'm go back to Tracy Ullman before the Simpsons started, because remember that's how the Simpsons started. It was on Tracy Ullman's show.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you're
wow,
tuning
yeah.
in, make sure to hit that share button. Make sure to smash that like button as well. We're going to get going here in just a few moments.
Yeah, I was going to say we are live, guys, so I'm just going to connect the chat and we'll be good to go. All right, guys, as soon as you want it, the greatest Black Republican, Black Democrat, political-based talk show of all time is all yours. And I also want to remind any viewers who might be joining us, we can always use a share, and always looking to communicate with you guys and whatever. So comment below the video, we'll put you on screen.
Welcome to Black Republican, Black Democrat this week. I'm Jamar.
And I'm AK Kamar. What
Welcome,
up, bro?
homie. Welcome. How you?
You know, living. Had a great Independence Day, man. Celebrating this country. I love it so much. I'm the dude that's wearing the American flag socks, wearing American flag everything. I don't have American flag shorts yet, but I got the cutoff shirt. I got the socks. You know, I got the hat. Rocking it, man.
Well, I'm wearing my 4th of July outfit because the real 4th of July for black folks is Juneteenth. And so, you know, I didn't celebrate this 4th of July, you know, because now when if you're into your culture, you become awakened by your real independence. And it is Juneteenth, not July 4th. I mean, even after we, the 4th, we celebrated America's birthday, and the blood, sweat, and tears that all type of black folks have shed for this country, that even then, you didn't have your independence. June 19th.
Have you read or listened to like audios that people put together of Frederick Douglass's 4th of July Independence Day address?
I have not.
You should check it out. It's a pretty long read, but to me, that's a perfect example of some man that has integrity, and he rips, like in his speech, he rips the fact that here's all of these ideals that was laid out in the Declaration of Independence, but here I stand before you as a freed slave, but all of these other people that are slaves, you're not living up to your ideals. And the reason that I think it's such a powerful thing, and anybody that's watching this should definitely go check it out. Just literally Google search Frederick Douglass Independence Day speech and look for the full speech. There's like different shorter clips that don't have the full context. There's a video, I think, of James Earl Jones reading some of it, but they take kind of highlight snippets that I think are meant to frame it, not in its proper context. But he lays out the good, the bad, and the ugly. And my point is that the Declaration of Independence laid out this beautiful framework that fallible humans did not follow and uphold the values. You can't read that document and say, yeah, this is a bad document. You can say the actions taken by the men that were in the country that did not live up to the ideals weren't perfect. So that's the approach that I take. So I love Independence Day. No knocking Juneteenth. Juneteenth is a great day. But I will ask an interesting question. So if you were not descended from slaves, which holidays did you celebrate?
Juneteenth.
But if I wasn't descended from slaves and I'm American, then can I? And the only reason
I don't have that option because I'm a descendant of a slave.
I know, but there are. I was actually reading this. There's this historian that's well respected by Black scholars throughout history, and his estimation is that somewhere between 5 and 25% of Black Africans that were in the United States before America became officially United States weren't slaves.
Yeah, I mean.
So what if you descended from them?
So yeah, well, show me that and prove me that we weren't slaves. I want to see that shit because I don't believe it. No, I mean, since I don't have to do any hypothetical because I'm a descendant of a slave.
Sure.
And I don't know, and I'm proud to celebrate Juneteenth.
Yeah.
And the 4th of July, again, before I became a woken, it was cool. It was a fireworks day, blah, blah, blah. But again, when you think about America's birthday, America's freedom, well, I'm not going to celebrate America's freedom when my people weren't free the day that America's freedom got set. No. It took you till the Emancipation Proclamation to free us, and then you kill the courier that is going down south to tell the other slaves that they were free. Oh yeah, kill that black guy, hang him, so you can't tell them. And then 2 years later they find out. Oh, look, y'all are free now.
I just think that
you niggas is free now.
It should easily be a unifying holiday. Because
they don't like Juneteenth.
You are American by birthright.
John McCain didn't even want Juneteenth to be a national holiday in Arizona.
And you're actually proving the reason why is because he thought that it would take away from people wanting to celebrate our independence.
Says a white man who comes from a descendants of slave masters. Yeah, so I could imagine that he feel that way. I get exactly. We're doing the right thing. I'm glad that this president has made it a national holiday. It should have took the red-faced jerk. He could have done it. President Obama could have done it even, but I'm glad that it took this president, any president, but I'm glad it was this president to mark it a national holiday.
And I'm glad it's a national holiday as well because I think history is important, but you can't take away from independence. Because I'll say this
no one's taking away from him, just saying I don't celebrate it.
Without a 4th of July, there would not be a June 19th. Because
let me say this: without those black folks that they enslaved, it would be no 4th of July. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What?
Slavery is not the reason why.
I didn't say slavery. I said the black folks that shed. I said that a moment ago. Okay. That shedded blood, sweat, and tears on the battlefield to free America. They were just like the money you're supposed to get now. They were frontline workers.
Yeah, but
they were frontline workers. They were the real frontline workers.
They weren't slaves. Most of them.
No.
Slaves.
You're saying slaves. Yeah. I said black people. I didn't say slaves. You said slaves. I said the black folks.
That's what I'm saying though. Those black people then should celebrate Independence Day.
Oh, they might do.
Their lineage. But yeah, man. I think that it's a unifying holiday, and I know that you do love America. And I think you're taking more of a political stance on it. It's just the right stance. It's not a political stance. It's the black stance. It's not though. I just proved to you it's not the black stance.
It's the black stance.
It's the ADOS stance, we'll call it. How about that?
No, it's the black stance. I think
my father loved the Independence Day, but he's
and I guarantee if your father was alive right now, with all the knowledge that he would have amassed between 2013 and now, your dad would be more prouder of Juneteenth.
No.
Yes, he would.
No.
Yes, he would.
He would not be flying. What's it called?
Who said
what? Pan-African flag.
Well, first of all, he is African, so he probably would. I mean,
he wasn't Pan-African though.
He's from the motherland.
He is.
He's African.
But
was he African?
He became an American citizen.
Was he African though?
Yeah, he's Sierra Leone.
I'm from Texas. I mean, I live here. But that don't make. I don't mean I'm not a Texan.
I'm just saying that growing up, he thought it was funny to blow up fireworks. It was but he also loved John Wayne westerns too. He was a huge.
Well, I mean, they didn't have. My dad did too.
And he was a Cowboys fan.
Growing up, they didn't have any damn thing on TV. They had 3 channels, so John Wayne was on all of them. Let's pay some bills. So you're thirsty, right? Yeah. For sure.
This bit's kind of we got to think of something else other than you're thirsty.
No, it's the truth though. When you're thirsty, when you need cigarettes, all that. I don't want to advertise cigarettes, but you need things.
They don't have Juuls anymore.
Yeah.
But you might need eggs, some CBD. You need some
and
postage.
It's legal now. The gummies.
Yeah, you get the 5 milligrams up to 5 milligrams of THC derived from hemp of the Delta 9.
No, they said real. No, flour.
Oh, do they?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, this is no. It's the real deal.
Real deal.
Yes.
Real deal Holyfield.
Yes.
Where do you go, man?
The Weber Mart.
The what?
The Weber Mart.
Go to Weber Mart. And honestly, Kevin down at the Weber Mart is a great human being. He supports the show. And if you're anywhere passing through 44th Avenue, make sure to stop by the Weber Mart. Tell them that Black Republican, Black Democrat sent you. It's sponsors like that really help the show. Now, something that's near and dear to my heart, and I've said this on other episodes, and I'm going to continue to beat the drum because I think everybody needs to understand this, is if you don't make a plan for what happens when you leave this earth, when you shed your earthly coil, your mortal coil, your family's going to be in some sort of way. And a new sponsor of the show is Dennis Smith. And Dennis is a lawyer, and he specifically specializes in needing a will, a healthcare directive, having a trust, setting up your final plan for what's going to happen once you pass away. So if you need help with any of that, please give Dennis Smith a call at 612-889-3971 or shoot him an email, dennis@smithlawmn.com. And truly, Dennis believes in helping us with our main cause, which is to bring back civility to political discourse. And that's something that's always been important to Dennis. So please give him a call, shoot him an email, and plan for when you ain't around no more.
Plan for the unexpected, right?
You got it, man.
You should be prepared. Know that, because if you stay ready, that means you ain't got to get ready.
That's right. Stay ready. You ain't got to get ready.
Word. Man, listen, all that is going on in the state and in the country, again, you know what, first of all, let's make sure that you are liking and sharing tonight's show. Comment below, please. The show is so interactive when you comment above. But even when you're arguing with each other, that's still great. I love it. Interact with us. Make sure you comment below, and we'll put the comments on the screen, of course, as we do always. And make sure you're sharing the show. All that's going on, man, we decided again to have another show of topics because, you honestly could have every show, no guests, all topics. Because the last 2 years have been action-filled, right?
Every week there's a bunch of stories.
Every week. And then don't make sure the rest of the month we've got a great lineup of guests starting next week. But tonight, man, what boggles the mind for me is to think about the cop killing of Jalen Walker. My man was shot multiple times.
I think 60 times.
And
he got hit 60 times.
And 30 missed, they said.
Yeah.
And so, and I said multiple times just to, reiterate the severity of the bullets that were used on him. Now, obviously it was overkill. Another unarmed black man killed for whatever. I don't think you can justify using that many bullets. However, I have one of my former employers was a Minneapolis police officer, and dealing with police officers and doing trainings with them, I learned something. That when all officers are on a crime scene and one officer shoots his gun, they are trained for the others to simultaneously shoot as well, and they're trained not to stop until the target is gone down. That means emptying your clip.
Yeah.
Doesn't justify inappropriate behavior of shootings of unarmed people, but in somewhat of a small sense, I want to try to show or say why so many bullets may have been used. I think because he was black, no doubt about that. But most officers, when you see those many shots, guys, it's because of their training. They're trained. When you shoot, I shoot.
Yeah.
And I shoot to, and there's a tier of things. I'm shooting to protect you. You're shooting to take down the assailant. I'm shooting to protect you, and Jim is shooting to protect you, and Tom is, and blah, blah, blah. And so now you have these barrage. I think at the scene was 8 officers, I believe it was.
Yeah, so the producer, if you want to pull up that story, basically the story is that there was a high-speed chase, and as they were chasing the suspect, he wasn't stopping. The officers observed that there was a gun flash inside of the vehicle. So when he finally came to a stop, and, as the story says, that he led them on a foot chase. Now, the officers' accounts are that he suddenly turned around, and as he was turning around, it was dark, and he was wearing a ski mask as well. The 8 officers, they don't say how many of them discharged the weapon, but
Well, obviously, all of them did.
Yeah, that or maybe like 4 of them emptied their 15 round magazine into them. But that's what happened. So when you think about it, right, 90 bullets flying from these officers, the fact that so many of them shot kind of leads, or at least it lends some understanding that they must, more than one officer felt that in this situation, the fact that he had fired a weapon, he was wearing a ski mask, he was running, and he was turning, that might lead to something. At the same time, though, I'm going to be devil's advocate a little bit. If you're with your officers and your mentality is, if I don't pull out my weapon and shoot, like, my brother is going to go down because they're going to be questioning, was it just one officer that went rogue? And do we, how does that work? And I'm not saying that there's any evidence to submit to that, but I will say this, that it looks bad whenever there's a shoot like this, where there are so many rounds dumped into a human being. It seems like, I guess, indifference or
overkill,
disregard
with no pun intended,
for human life, right?
Totally.
Like, I mean, listen, I get the aspect that you are shooting to end that threat, right? So that is the purpose. But I mean,
90 shots.
That's a lot of bullets, man. And like, it would be one thing if 90 rounds were fired in like an exchange that lasted 30 seconds. But we're talking about 90 rounds in like 4 seconds or something. Like, they dumped it. So it does. I think, as I say with everything, I want to be able to see the evidence that is laid out. They're obviously investigating. President Biden said, I think today, that if they need the Department of Justice to step in to investigate, they're going to do that. And so at the end of the day, I am always on the side where I think that officers in general, it's an honorable profession, and they likely are doing things by the book. But having these overkill cases, like, you remember Jacob Blake, right? The overkill was, why'd you have to shoot him? How many times did he get shot in the back? Like,
twice, at least 3 times, left him paralyzed.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 shots. Yeah. Like, that's overkill. And I was like, that's not that many shots. Now, if he would have emptied out his entire magazine and then dumped, reloaded and dumped another magazine. But,
well, I think most of us were thinking that because you shot the man in the back.
Sure.
And you shot him once, that was enough. I mean, you shot him multiple more times in the back.
Yeah.
And
but this is even more than that. So
yes, it's worse. This is begrudgingly worse.
Now, this has led to, clearly, right, a lot of civil unrest. I think the mayor of Akron had to call a curfew. There was some, people were popping off, things like that. But I do also, again, to the defense of the officers, the dude, they found the gun that he fired in the vehicle. And, like, I know that he didn't have it on him, but he...
So you took the words out of my mouth. So then thank you. Then there's no justification for it.
But they
that bullshit that officers use, I feared for my life. I seen him, he reached for his waistband. He fired a gun. Well, now that you say that, now let's go find the bullet. You say it's dark? That bullet can be found if you say he turned around running and shot at you.
No, in the car. So the way that it worked...
well, he was on foot.
So while he was on the chase, the officer observed that there was definitely a gun flash, right? I don't know if he was shooting behind, if he fumbled who knows, right? But there was a gun flash. And then when he stopped and he got out, the officers are like, he has that gun still in their mind. And so when he turned around, they fired on him. And so... The question is, and I'm going to bring
But you just answered the question.
Yeah.
The gun wasn't fired at them.
No.
So, again, justify for me killing this young man. Even shooting.
Yeah.
Even shooting. The gun wasn't fired at you. So justify for me shooting this man at all.
Yeah.
Not Amir Rice, but the young man downtown.
Amir Locke.
Amir Locke, excuse me. Same thing. 4 o'clock in the morning, you wake him up. Of course, he naturally, as you said, you sleep next to your gun, and that's the first thing you're going to do. You hear a disturbance. You reach for your gun before you open up your eye.
Oh, I practice it, too.
You know exactly. Well, which is real, though. You know where it is. Yeah. So with your eyes closed now, you know you can reach over, grab your gun, take the safety off, bam, right?
I don't have a safety.
Oh, see? You don't even have a safety. No. So you know you can just turn. You gotta do this, or you just fire. You gotta pull it back.
There's already a chamber. There is a round in that. There's
one in there. You keep one in there. You keep it chambered.
Condition ready, baby.
So, again, you are prepared. These cops, again, bro, it just looks like to most black folks is, again, not only is it overkill, but it's a reckless disregard for black lives, bro. And this is what we've been saying.
Have they released any information on the officers?
No, of course not. No, they haven't released their names, and the only thing they've released is that they're on paid administrative leave, which is, of course, procedure. Yeah. So no, and that's the other thing. I want to have chiefs like Arredondo. When these officers do this, see, there has to. I understand you. Well, I don't understand why you're protecting these officers. Okay, when there's a shooting as such, immediately, for PR's sake, if nothing else, when you know you're going to have an upheaval of this, you need to release those officers' names. It doesn't do. I mean, I'm not going to say it can't cause them harm, but more than likely, name me a case where when the officer's name has been released, that officer has had something happen to him. I don't know a case that has happened to yet.
Probably not in recent history, no, because it's such a high microscope, and let's be completely honest. I think that there's a conversation that is perfectly okay to have, and this doesn't mean you're anti-cop, that cops still are, okay, agents of the state, aka the government, okay? And we can't live in a society in which cops or the government are so shielded against the American people that they have like a higher status. And what I mean by that is, like, if you become a civil servant and if you're like, well, if we do this and we release the names of cops that are involved in officer involved incidents, that's going to mean that there's going to be less cops. I don't think so. But I think that there's a line that you have to say, at what point do you give the state or the government this layer of protection that puts them above other people? And I don't think that's okay. Now, it's different. Like, if someone makes a move, right? Someone calls, harasses, intimidates the cops.
Sure.
Like, those people need to be arrested. Like,
Correct.
You can't do that. Like, just like with Supreme Courts, like the justices, like, and like we've talked before on the show, when they show up to judges' houses, like you should be arrested.
Nobody's out. You place of businesses.
Yeah,
fair game.
Going to their crib though and stuff like that. Like that's intimidation.
No.
That's a whole other level.
Again,
but I
can shoot your ass.
I still think that we can't create a layer of protection against people that are agents of the state, because we, the people, deserve to know these things. And maybe that's a little bit libertarian.
No.
But that's where I come from.
That's knowing right from wrong. And again, as we said before, I don't think you should go to any politician's house, especially somebody's black house. I mean, for real, that's triggering. I mean, quite honestly. And so, no, I think that's inappropriate, because that's where someone's family live. You scare their family, you scare their kids. I know from dealing with John Thompson when he was going through his situation. I mean, they were vicious and visceral threats on him, his family. They found out where his kids went to school, that they threatened his kids. They sent notes to the kids' schools, so people can lose their effing mind, right? And so that's pretty serious and dangerous. But again, be due to PR to appease the public, which is what you are, public service.
Yeah, you have to. I think that helps lower the tension.
It can, some of it, they're going to be those that are just pissed off, but for the most of us that are level-headed and that want to hear why, just release those. This is John Doe, Jane Doe, John Doe. Okay, fine. We know whose cops are. Now then, that still gives, some leaders to say, okay, wait a minute. I've had a problem with this officer before. So now you can bring those things to light. Or it could be officers where they don't have anything wrong with this officer. Then you say, well, wait a minute.
That's a good cop.
Exactly. Can I give this guy the benefit of the doubt? Maybe that's right.
No,
Maybe he had the bit.
I've always been the
police chiefs are really, they need to use their mayors and police chiefs need to use their head and think PR first. I understand you want to protect your officers, but when an officer involves shooting, you need to be thinking about officer and public. And public part, the only part, if you think about it, most activists only ask for the officer's name to be released. And I honestly think that that's really, really reasonable.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm with you 100% on that.
Because if you and I go to jail tonight for you shoot me, I shoot you, immediately after we get booked, your name and my name is matter of public record, right?
It is.
Now, I know that we're not officers, but I'm saying, like you just said, how are you held to a different standard when involved in situations like this?
No, I think that me and you, we should actually have privacy, but we are not agents of the state. I think that the state needs to be held. If you're the government, you need to be held to a higher level of scrutiny, that people get to know who you are, what you're about, because you are a servant of the people.
Correct.
Now, there's another story did you watch the video at all? I watched the full video of this next story. If you guys haven't seen it, it's pretty gut wrenching, man, to me. But there's a story coming out that there was a gentleman named Randy Cox, and he was originally detained for like public drunkenness or something like that. Black man, and
what color?
Black man, and he got put in the back of a police vehicle. And he was like standing up. I don't know, like different states must have different, like you don't have to put him in a seatbelt, which is crazy.
No. He was supposed to be in a seatbelt.
He was
supposed to be. When you're in the back of a paddy wagon, they're supposed to seatbelt you in.
Right.
Because of that very reason, what happened to him?
Yeah, and so the video is horrific, man. You know, the cop comes to a stop. He goes flying and breaks his neck, right? But that's not the bad, like that
The
in of
treatment
itself,
of the man.
that's bad. But man, when you watch that full video,
How they yanked him out of the car.
they yanked him out and he's like, you can see the physical
The
pain
limpness.
on his
Oh.
face. They're slamming him around, and
Never unhandcuffed him.
No, they didn't. They didn't. And
I
then,
think when he got inside when they put him in that chair.
yeah, they did take the handcuffs off
Yeah.
him when they.
Well,
him in the
you
chair.
had to.
But like they were like slamming him up, and here's the thing: I sent the producer a screenshot of a video, and the reason I want the screenshot to go up is because this kind of it pushes against the narrative of, in my opinion, and I know we can have a discussion about that, but like the idea of the white supremacy aspect. So there's a picture, the next one over here, but yeah,
I'm getting it. Sorry.
No, you're good. But this kind of just explains again. If you want to watch the video, I think it's always important. But so in that video, right? So you have all the way to I guess it would be your right is that black police officer, right? And then there's that female who I can't tell what her
Two black police officers.
what her ethnicity is. I don't know if she's white or
Looks
Hispanic,
white or
something like
Hispanic with that hair
that.
color.
And then there's the dude that's I don't know what he is, but
White.
my point is that like in this video, like they're trying to put him in the chair and they're like, quit playing. And he is like, I can't move. Like he keeps on saying like, I can't move my legs. I can't feel my legs. And slamming him around and seeing the pain on his face and like, oh, he's just drunk. And then, you know, I don't have the video here, but that black officer helps pull him, drags him into the cell, and then is like, should we cuff his feet? And they're like, yeah. And the man is just laying on the ground. My point, the way that I view it, because you already know that I don't see the world through a race-colored lens. What I do see,
Too bad
though,
for you.
is people treating other people inhumanely. That's my issue, is that they treated him like an animal. And I personally think that regardless of what the color of this man would have been, these officers probably would have treated other people.
I doubt it.
And I think that is a problem. Like these officers need to be investigated, because if they treated this man this way,
They've been doing it before.
they've had to have done something like that, and that's just inhumane. Like I've had this conversation with you before, that I am not just anti-abortion, I'm pro-life, because I do believe that life is precious. I do believe it's important to treat other humans with respect. And outside of the fact of when someone's trying to take your life, I'm not like a Buddhist, like, oh, just kill me if you're going to kill me. I believe in defending myself and protecting those that I have an obligation to defend. But I'm saying that you treat people with kindness and you recognize their humanity. And this entire story, like, I'll say this. This is probably one of the only cases that Ben Crump has been, part of that I actually agree. I think almost everything else, Ben Crump is the new.
He's the new Johnny Cochran.
Yes.
No, he's Johnny Cochran.
Or Al Sharp.
He's Johnny Cochran. He's
Well,
bad.
yeah,
he's
but-
bad like Johnny Cochran. Well, because he's our new savior, bro. He goes in and takes these cases when every case that he's involved in. Think about it. It's a police-involved shooting where the police are wrong. That's just it.
Yeah.
And so there should be someone representing, taking on these cases, battling these police departments nationwide to stop this shit, bro. Black folks have been saying this for years, bro. I always identify this gash from the side of my head. This type of inhumane treatment of black men, black and brown men, has been going on. Folks think that we cry wolf. When you're intoxicated, it's sometimes even worse. They treat you just like this. Even when you're not intoxicated, they treat you like as such. It does have something to do with racism, okay? Black officers that are part of this crap, they're just as ignorant. They're bigoted. Okay, those are the people. Those are the sometimes black cops. Sometimes are the worst friggin' ones. I'm telling you what, God, a cop is a cop is a cop, and black ones can be the worst. I've sometimes had more bad dealings with black officers than I have white officers. Because black officers, you know, you say, hey, bro, or don't call me, bro.
I'm not your brother.
I'm like, all right, officer, call me officer. If you don't call me, bro, you're gonna talk to Mr. Ground.
Mr. Ground.
Like Mr. Ground, what the hell? Why? Because I called you brother. So
don't try to bro me.
I just think that, you know, there has to be some federal protection of these. We talked about it just 2 weeks ago. And in fact, you know, let's now shoot for getting Brian back on the show so he can. I know this was Minneapolis and he'll dance around it, but there needs to. When you and I were talking about how the police need to carry those that insurance where they're responsible for these things. I guarantee you. I think you and I both agreed to that. That I guarantee you, it slows down police brutality. When that officer knows that if I beat this guy's ass and it leads to him being paralyzed, it leads to his loss of his life, I'm responsible. Not my police department, not the people of the state.
Yeah, qualified immunity.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't think of a big word.
So here's the thing. The thing that we agree on is that defunding the police is terrible because it just makes crime go up.
No doubt.
I will say though that having stories
but this I'm sorry, just cut you off. This does make it. Oh, you was about to take words out of my mouth.
This story, along with the other story, it makes it so much harder because you're like, man, like when you have these types of stories where it seems again, people are treated inhumanely. That's where it's like, yo, this is hard. You really can't defend it. But I will say this. Back to my point that I just made about we got to remember that I think that the average police officer, I personally think, has a high level of integrity. I think that going into that field,
you give them too much. You give them too much credit.
Going into that field, I think, already elevates their moral character.
Oh, right? Wait a minute, AK. What about some of the races that were?
I get it, and I think again, there's such a small percentage, but when you do that, I still don't think that absolves them from understanding that these are agents of the state that need to be held to a high standard. And you know, I know that I know that Mr. Cox is still, I believe, in the ICU. They don't think that he'll be able to walk in, but you know, miracles happen, man. And like, say a prayer that this man, because he wasn't fighting like none of that. Like this is the issue. If I would have seen a video where he was fighting with the cop, it's not that I would have believed that you deserve it, but consequences the man was in the back of the van. You know what I'm saying? He was
handcuffed.
You know what I'm saying? Like
intoxicated.
Like he wasn't even fighting the cop. When you watch how he gets arrested, like he wasn't. He
went in peacefully. Exactly. Yeah. Was sitting up. He's tall, dude.
Yeah.
And like you just said,
like he was drunk, so he stood up. But still, he might have stood up because he might have been like, "Yo, like you all need to put me in a seatbelt."
I don't even remember in the video. I don't remember him standing up. I think he's just that tall, AK, where he looks like he was standing up. Because as soon as that officer took off, remember, he came to a stop sign is what happened. So like he was driving, and then like he kind of stood up because he's a big dude, and that there's not a lot of space. In a paddy wagon,
not meant to be comfortable.
Well, true.
But yeah, my thing though, the other thing too is like when the cop like opened it up and he was like, "Quit playing."
Yeah. Well, we'll be there in a few minutes.
And then.
Like, are you okay? You need to go. He's patronizing now. Yeah. You need to go to the hospital. Oh, you need to go to the hospital.
Like I said, dude, like that standard, that level of inhumaneness, you can't defend that.
And they should have been. That's what I'm saying. You need a chief like Arredondo. Those officers should have been. Those guys and that son of a biscuit eater that drove them should have been fired expeditiously, because that is such an inhumane treatment. And then it makes every patron of that state, of that city, think, well, wait a minute. Remember either treatment that they got, how they got treated, or someone they didn't know, or say, wait a minute, is that what is that me next because I get drunk and I go to jail? Especially as black men, not just black women, but black men, black and brown men especially. You're dealing with these officers. Really quick, I was watching some documentary. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it profiled Rudy Giuliani, how he came to power. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And long story short, Rudy and Bloomberg, if I'm not mistaken, were the ones that came up with the stop and frisk. Right.
Yeah. Giuliani and then Bloomberg kept implementing it, but Bloomberg went.
So before that, when he was dealing with the mob, before when because RICO, the statute got invented because of that.
Giuliani is credited with literally ending
bringing the mob,
yeah,
which he didn't. But yes, but he did a hell of a job out there. Again, long story short, the treatment of those mobsters, you got to watch the documentary. They talk about it, so it goes back to the circle of one of, again, I mean, they're not brown men, black or brown men, but when police officers think that they're dealing with a bad person, just all of a sudden their level of disrespect for that person goes incredibly high. It heightens, and they start treating this guy incredibly bad. Now, if you got a little money, like the mobsters said, they would say to him, hey,
forget about
it. No way, I take care of you, you know? And we shouldn't be mocking them. Then that would change things. But, bro, I don't understand. When are we going to have real, honest dialogue about this type of treatment and pass laws or strengthen laws that are on the book? Qualified immunity probably should be out there. I think that's the only thing that you could, other than prison, of course.
Yeah.
I think qualified immunity makes these officers think twice. I'm not going to kick your ass without real reason, without real fear of my life, right? I think, seriously, cops, because of their authority, are over-asserted, and things like this happen.
Like, I explained to people, like, actually, it's funny. My wife and I had this conversation because she was like, I don't know if I really am down with the qualified immunity because, like, why should the cops have to have extra insurance? And I said, well, you know, doctors have malpractice insurance. And she's like,
that's right.
And I was like, when I was an insurance agent, I had errors and omissions insurance, right?
Yeah, who?
Like, errors and omissions.
Errors and omissions.
Errors and omissions. So if I mess up doing something with an insurance policy, I can be sued through my errors and omissions insurance. So that's basically what the qualified immunity. And I said, the other thing to think about every year, and my numbers might be a little bit off, but something like 40, again, this might be way over, but something like 40,000 Americans die every year from medical malpractice, where the doctor does something wrong that leads to a death. Now, like we're talking about like egregious ones where like, oh, they're supposed to
leaving something in there.
Yeah. Those are only like something like, I don't know, like 1,400 a year. But my point
only.
I know, but I mean, when you think about like the millions and millions of interactions that whatever. But my point is that a lot of doctors, I think everyone, carry some type of malpractice insurance because if you feel that doctor did something wrong in the course of their job, even if it wasn't malicious, that there's still going to be something to protect. And I see it the same way. It adds this additional layer of culpability. And I know that we've had law enforcement on this show that have said, I'm against having qualified immunity. And I don't see, I think it's a good way to...
It's a deterrent.
To come to a middle ground.
It's a absolutely.
To be like taking more accountability and more responsibility. And those folks that are more libertarian have been talking about qualified immunity for a very long time.
Good. Well, I'm sorry I ignored you.
Dr. Rand Paul.
Has he been talking about it for a while?
Dr. Senator Rand Paul, yeah, he's talked about qualified immunity. Congressman Thomas Massey also talked about qualified immunity. Senator Scott talks about qualified immunity.
I'm glad you brought his name because I was just about to say, no. He talked about it my ass. That was the one thing that didn't get that bill passed because Scott was holding the Republican line and did not want to include qualified immunity in there.
Was that what it was?
Yes, and I think that he should have had the integrity to say, no, bro, let's end this because we'll go on for this. But I am so angry that federally that isn't a mandate. I know we hate that word mandate, but bro, we gotta hold officers and the police departments accountable for their officers' actions, and you can't always have a police chief that totally justifies every single killing. Now, we have yet to hear from the chief. I haven't. I don't know. Has the chief spoken out yet? I don't think so.
In this case of this Cox guy?
Yes.
I actually looked today to see if there's it's weird how sometimes there's like a vacuum of information that comes because like I hope this doesn't happen. I hope that Mr. Cox lives. But if he doesn't,
it's not gonna happen. You're right, Tim.
Reverend Christopher. But if he doesn't pass away, I think until there's like a court proceeding, it's probably going to be out of the news cycle. If he does pass away or the news breaks of something new, then there'll be an update. If I went to like the local paper, they might have like something more specific.
Matter of fact, Tim, you know what? Let's get you on in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I would love to have him
Tim
on.
is a gun enthusiast. He teaches black folks to What am I
defend themselves.
Yes, thank you, thank you. And honestly, let me say thank you. Let me spend 1 second for a minute or two to give you kudos. So Tim he's enthusiastic about black and brown folks having guns, owning guns, right?
Yeah.
And the proper way of owning guns. And so what Tim did is the reason why I'm a concealed carrier is because Tim paid for me to go get me and my family members to go get training. So I don't know if there's a program. I hope I'm not saying anything, Tim,
So
that gets you in trouble.
You have to get a concealed carry permit, and you take the class. That's part of it. And whomever you take the class from, some people charge.
And Tim was providing. Tim was taking care of the cost of that too. He just wanted black folks to go, and he was taking care of the cost of that. I think out of his own pocket. I don't want to just but I think out of his own pocket. Yeah. So that's important. We do need to know.
Because all that does is it says to the state when you go to apply for your actual permit to carry is that you have the minimum qualifications to be able to submit
the 8 hours that they say you need.
Right, and then once you submit the application, then the local sheriffs take over. And
by the way, that class is long as hell. 8 hours is long.
It is.
But Tim, they make it pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, I went through a class with Rob Dorr actually.
We should get him on too.
Yeah, no, I'd love to have Rob Dorr on. But yeah, that's
because he was the only one because again on cases like this, you never hear NRA or any other gun enthusiasts come out and against officers, especially politicians, especially conservative politicians, because they're afraid to lose those gun voters.
Sure.
No, writers, and if you do, they're not. I probably wouldn't want that vote. Especially when there are cases like this, AK, you have to have the common decency to say, no, those officers were wrong. You can't say, well, was he fighting? No.
Yeah. Now, I've been on this show and I've said that to you that there's reasonable doubt, but in these cases, I just don't see it, man. I literally just don't see it.
You don't see it, and it's also nuts because is this a video you found? Producer?
Yeah, of him being mishandled in the.
Okay, let's watch it.
I would say do the last probably minute, and yeah, it's just look at. I mean, this man's neck is broken. Like I said, that chick, she looks like she's Hispanic.
Hispanic, yeah.
Something like that.
Is there any audio, boss? Can we get a little bit of audio?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Well, look at that, man. His neck is.
Look how limp he is, guys. Like you said, look at the agony in his face. I guess we don't need volume when we're talking it.
It's just it's.
Look at him being dragged.
It's just inhumane. That's my whole point, man. It's just it's. See, like you said, he's perfectly.
Hold on.
Oh my God.
And here's the crazy part too. He's not hollering. He's not screaming.
Because he can't feel the pain anymore, or probably, maybe stinging, or something.
But yeah,
that was nuts.
Like I said, man, it's just the inhumanity, and that's the thing that gets me riled up is that when you treat someone like an animal, and in some of these cases, people will, I think, overly use it, and they'll be like, "Oh, this person was treated like this," and I'm like, well. If you do all these actions, I can understand that you use different forms of force escalation. But in this case, there ain't none of that. This is just treating people terribly.
There was absolutely no need.
We were talking about, Second Amendment, and I wanted to bring up this next story. I read this article, and it brought a smile to my face, man. Because
you know what? Actually, I wanted to cue this up before your article, well, because it's gonna play right into it.
Yeah.
A congressperson here, woman, I think you say woman,
congresswoman,
had an appearance over the weekend here in front of her own community.
Yeah,
and she got booed. Amazing.
Honestly, this story is probably one of the most hilarious stories. We actually have a video, and it's Daily Mail, and they already bleeped out the curse words. But this is Congresswoman and squad member Ilhan Omar. And I'm setting the stage up. She's at a concert that, is whatever, 90%, 95% Somali attended, because it's like some popular.
Oh, it's Democrat friendly.
Somali.
It's Democrat friendly.
Well, and it's a Somalian event, and so she gets on to
Somalian New Year, by the way.
Somalian New Year.
Yeah.
She gets up to introduce one of the performers, I think one of the headliners. And the crowd ain't having it at all. They start the boo berries, man. And here, we'll play the clip. But it is cringy to watch. She said, "What's up, Minneapolis?" And they all start booing her. And then she's like trying to still speak.
So I'm excited on behalf of
They just keep booing.
They're saying, fuck you.
Get the fuck out of here.
That was pretty clear.
Now, here's what I'll say. Like, probably the most entertaining part is like she just can't take the hint.
No, you see her being persistent.
Like at one point, what does she say? She goes, now, we don't have all day. like,
Don't keep booing me.
like, don't keep booing me. Like, we got a show that we want to put on or whatever. And oh man, it's just crazy. Every once in a while, my eye just waters like a weird person. But
Well, you gotta, because you're probably crying
just
from laughing.
crying
Shit.
from laughing. But that's probably the worst part, honestly, is that she just won't take the L. She won't just be like, okay, I'm gonna stop. Like, look over to like her campaign manager and be like, yeah, these people don't want me here. And it's just she won't.
Where's her people? Why aren't they off stage?
Well, her
Like,
husband was there, and isn't
well, he's standing right next to her.
Isn't her husband? Wasn't he like one of her staffers? Right? Wasn't that like the?
He was her consultant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The scandal.
Yeah, like a $200,000 consultant. Shit, I wish I worked for his firm.
But this is what I think is so interesting. You know, we've had we've had Royce White on the show. We've had the endorsed Republican candidate Cicely Davis on the show. We just had Don Samuels, who's challenging Ilhan Omar on the show. Ilhan won't come on the show.
She will not. And I personally, where's my camera? I have personally reached out to her folks. She has a brother that runs her, not her campaign manager, but runs her team, is in charge. Spoke to the brother, was real cool.
Oh, okay. Not her brother.
No, not the one she married. I mean, no. Wait. What are you talking about? A brother was very cool, but he said that he would get back to me, and that was like years ago. No, it was quite a while ago. It was like 3 months ago, and he has not got back to us. This is what she does. This is why I don't support her. She runs, and I don't think she's doing enough for constituents. And I think that this is a real opportunity for Don or maybe her Republican challenger, who there might be, I believe it'll be C.C. Davis, to take a real step and challenge her on the issues. Where are you here?
Yeah.
Why aren't you saying this? Why aren't you doing that? Making these little cheap, cheesy appearances, trying to garner young support, I guess, instead of going out and doing the work, is BS.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? Is that the fact that she doesn't want to come on the show when
Any show, honestly, unless it's Camo
And
J,
but
where they
listen,
give
we've
that's
had-
her Fox News. It's Camo J.
We've had spicy guests on the show where
Yes.
we've got into it, but at least we were able to still get to the meat of the issue. Like if Ilhan came on the show, I would love for her to be. I wouldn't be disrespectful
Of
to
course
her.
not.
I'd just ask her a bunch of questions about her positions of the things that she has voted for or said that she would do, the things that she hasn't done. I think it would be great, but she's probably of that mentality of she doesn't want anybody to be able to hold her accountable in a setting that she doesn't completely control, and that's stupid. And I think that the people of Minneapolis, even within the Somali community that she has locked down, she doesn't have the people aren't with her. Right now, I think it's like the machine, right? The political apparatus, the machine is backing her. I'm not saying that she's gonna lose, but I think the way that everything is going, I think that she better start taking a look in the mirror to figure out what is she trying to represent. Because my reading, just kind of looking at different stuff online and chatter, is that the Somali community feels abandoned by Ilhan. And I'm not saying just from a cultural perspective, because everyone knows that Ilhan's a progressive, right? Like she's LGBTQIA plus, right? Like she's not for the more conservative Somali values, but everyone knew that going into it. The problem is that she hasn't really been doing the things that she said she would be doing for the Somali community. And then she's also had some really bad votes on issues that Democrats are like, hey, like this is how we should vote on this stuff. So it's so interesting. And it's almost like they say, politically speaking, once you get, I think it's 3 terms, like if you can get elected 3 times in Congress, like it's yours until you die or don't want it, or like, you know, you get found with some salacious photos or something. Like if you get 3 terms, 6 years, like you're basically locked down in that seat. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if the people turn their back, because
I think people are turning their back. I think
well, at the ballot box is the important part.
Well, last November was a referendum on one of her stances, and some of her stances when she wants to, instead of reform the police, she wants to end the police. That's a referendum on that idea.
Yeah.
And so people need to take advantage of that. Her opponents need to take advantage of that and talk about that and get to the heart of how people feel, because we're not getting safer. Seems like things are getting progressively, and I use that term purposefully, progressively worse. Okay,
Yeah.
we're at 51 murders already.
Yeah.
If y'all didn't know that, in the city of Minneapolis, guys, we're at 51 murders already. It's July 8th. We're at 51 murders already, Brooke.
Or
Stop.
6.
Oh, sorry. Shit. Okay. Thank you. I don't know. I thought that was an 8. Okay. You're right. Wednesday the 6th at 9:39. Okay. I'm not drinking. I just looked at it wrong. Okay. No, but seriously, bro. Man, what are we going to do? What are you going to do, Ilhan? Her opponents need to start talking about that. They'd be mindful, and then you push her into a corner where people can really identify who she is. Pull that thin veil off of her, reveal her. I guarantee you she can lose.
So this plays actually into perfectly to
It does.
to the last point. So I like the way how you queued that up, man. See, that's why you get paid the big bucks. That's why you get paid the big dollars around here.
Of course.
So interesting poll was released, and The Hill did a story on it. And when I came across it, it made me smile, because
I bet it did.
Jamar and I have a steak dinner on the line for the midterms, and I'm explaining like all these Democrats are going to lose. But just look at the title: Black Republicans energized ahead of midterms. Of course, look at the hat, peep the hat. Black Republicans.
I know I should be wearing mine, but it clashes with my outfit.
So the biggest takeaway is that this is according to a Wall Street Journal poll that in November, when polled, support for Republican candidates among black voters was about 12%, which is a little bit higher than average. Usually, I think Biden, when you look at the totality of all votes, I think Trump got like 8%. Now, like I've told you before, in Minnesota he got like crazy 30-some%, and with men, he averaged.
I still
like
think
20,
that's BS. Not with black
21%.
folks.
Black women voted for him like at 2%. So all of that brings it down. But the point is that in this poll, support for generic Republicans from black voters was at 27%. That is insane. Now, again, this is one poll, Wall Street Journal. I think they do really good in their polling, at least when they're polling to issues that are favorable to Democrats.
This is a conservative outlet.
Wall Street Journal?
Yes.
No,
it is.
They're barely left of center.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
And so
their owner is a Republican, conservative Republican. Most of the writers are conservative Republicans.
No.
Yes, they are.
They're barely left of center. But I agree that they're the closest thing of the main newspapers out there that at least aren't insanely in favor. But they're still the corporate mainstream media, and they push lies in their own narrative push all the time.
What? Including Fox.
Yeah, Fox is there too. Yeah, they're corporate mainstream.
But what I don't is I've been in the Wall Street Journal twice. I happen to strongly disagree, because you know when I hear these polls about black folks, first of all, the source that they only source about 1,200 people is an article that they
sample size.
And then again, how you poll black folks, all you know at chaps my hide, because I don't think they do not scientifically poll black and brown folks the right way. Okay, these polls like mine, I just got a survey yesterday. How's the president doing? Blah 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 blah. Right?
Yeah.
I know for a fact that, because I've been doing polling over the last 2 years. Most people, especially younger generations, younger minorities, they don't pay attention to those polls, okay, on their phones, because they think they're spam, so they know to shoo it away. And then most black people from my grandmother's age, I don't know, 60s, 70s, 80s on down, or, you have to speak to them directly on the phone, or do some door knocking, do good old-fashioned door knocking. That isn't being done. These people are calling them, or sometimes with the surveys, if you answer one question, it generates the person that sends the sender can generate the rest of the answers for you.
So here's the thing that I hear what you're saying on that, and we've had all these discussions and debates. I'm, because I have my degree in political science, I do understand how polling weighting works. So like you can have a small sample size of 1,200, and that actually, if you have a good polling methodology, it does. You can magnify it, and then it has the polling error. But here's the main thing. This poll, that's been published by the Wall Street Journal has not had Republican favorability by Black Americans anywhere near this ever in the history of this poll. So I think that it is a sign that there is a perfect rife time for Republicans to be able to fill in the void. And so in the story, I don't know if I would love to try and get Denard Paris on, but the Republican National Convention hired Denard Paris as one of their national spokesmen, and they have tasked him specifically with being able to bring Black people into the Republican Party. And so in this article, he explains that we have 120 Black Republicans that are running for office. 80 of them have filed to run in the House of Representatives. So just again, there is this shift that has been happening where you're having non-traditional blocks of, strong Democrat blocks, strong for a long time, that are starting to shift away. And, this is what I think is good for everybody. Like I don't want
It's good for everybody.
I'm a Republican, and everyone knows that. But I don't want people to blindly be Republican, because honestly, it creates more problems in my party when people come to the Republican Party that aren't Republicans or have Republican values. I'd rather have you go to Libertarian Party or something like that, and someone might be listening and saying, well, that's stupid. Don't you want to win? No, I don't want to win just to win. I want to win because I think our ideas matter.
Well, they suck. So you need people like that to come in.
Our ideas are amazing.
They suck.
But here's the thing.
And they're amazing for white folks.
The fact that we are being able to have this bite at the apple that we haven't had in a very long time,
please,
I think will actually make the party a better, stronger party if we do right by it. And you and I, we've had so many guests on this show, and we've
Bless
talked
your heart.
about. So with Denard Paris, he's explained
Let's reach out to him.
They're setting up offices in the hood.
Where? Who?
So they have one, I think, already in Georgia. So
yeah.
They set one up down there.
The Republicans here in Minnesota are dumb as hell.
Yeah.
And they're bigoted, and they would never open an office in South Minneapolis, North Minneapolis, Lake Street.
It's not.
It's bigotry.
So in this case, with the RNC, this is a little bit of sausage. Like, this is behind the scenes how the sausage is made. So the RNC is not going to spend money in states that they don't think that they have a chance of winning, and the murmurs are, right, with polling being what it is, with Dr. Scott Jensen running against Tim Walz, that the RNC might be pouring some money into Minnesota because they think that they can actually flip this governor's seat. And if the money starts coming into Minnesota, I think that there's a strong case to be made. Like I said, in Minnesota, when you look at what the Black vote in 2020 for Donald Trump was, like I said, 30s, right? For black
I don't believe that.
Black males.
Okay.
Black males.
All right.
Black females, of course, drug the number down because black females hate Donald Trump. And I think there's a real opportunity. So we'll see what happens.
So there's not a real opportunity because they're not Donald Trump. If that number is real, which is not, these guys are not Donald Trump. And those men, think about it now. And it's shown the numbers for Donald Trump. Probably, maybe, it's not that high, but those candidates aren't Donald Trump, so they would not garner no Republicans have gotten out of the way about 20% here in the state.
Here's what I think happened. I think that Donald Trump primed the pump. I know.
Okay.
I think that he primed the pump. Because
Nike.
And because he's not primed the pump, and with all these different things, like when I go on my TikTok, there's a group of guys, a dude that's actually out of Minnesota, Duran. He'll be on there, and you probably have interacted with Duran. He's pretty hardcore. Another dude named AJ's Rant Room. There's American Lumberjack, another black dude. There's Macho Fix, and then there's Flexo something. And all these are black Republican conservative content creators that have 100,000 plus followers, and they get on every night, and they just are going ham. And it's funny, man. They'll have they go hardcore, dude. They'll just straight up be like, white liberal women are destroying America. They go super hard. But to see how many other people are following it and all the commenters, these are not okay. I was raised in North Dakota. I've never lived in North Minneapolis. I've never lived in the hood. I grew up in the Welfare Square in North Dakota, but I'm not a hood cat. Okay, I am what I am. These are hood cats that are down with the cause, that are out there doing things, and I'm seeing this kind of opportunity where people are trying to bring this in, and it's all because of your president, man.
Well, I'm glad you're absolutely right, because he energizes the base, and so I think Don asked me, "Am I seeing the shift in my base?" No, I don't know what you mean. Yes, I mean, yes, we're getting more enthusiastic about hitting the polls. Midterms that are normally now pretty dry. These midterms, I think, will have high voter turnout because of how people are galvanized with the last couple of cases that the Supreme Court and Republicans, and the fact that, you know what else I love, is you guys run the most inept candidates. And that's the best thing for Democrats, especially here. You run horrible, horrible candidates, and you won't win statewide. Remember, that's their dinner. You won't win a race statewide. Jensen, there's no way Jensen. It will be close because people are coming out. I mean, folks want to show their anger, frustration, happiness, blah, 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 with the votes. And so I think it'll be a close race. I don't think he's not Obama or President Biden. He won't kill Jensen. But again, when a Republican in this state reaches the pinnacle of 25 or better, then talk to me. They have not done that, and I mean, what I was going to call him George Johnson. What the hell his name was?
George Johnson?
He didn't do it twice. He didn't do it. No Republican has done it. For the House, Secretary of State, AG, Republicans don't do it because, just like you just said a moment ago, they don't want to put money where they think they can win instead of investing year-round. It's 50 freaking states. You've got black people that you need to come to your party to understand. And again, how many times have I said, publicly and privately, black folks are tired of Democrats.
Yeah.
They are. We are tired of Democrats. But why should we change course and vote for a Republican when we have no relationship with you? I don't know what I'm going to get. Black and brown folks aren't going to do that. So when you guys temper that enthusiasm down, that you think that there's buyer remorse. First of all, there's always buyer remorse on any candidate. There's always. Simple as that, especially a United States president. Always. However, when during the course of a presidency, when there's different issues that come up, especially now with abortion, and I'm telling you, gay rights will be on the ballot in 2024. Some bigoted, homophobic Republican, conservative, will sue some reverend for marrying or cake maker or some type of crap. Believe me, it'll be back on.
There's
that.
not okay. Like
watch what I tell you. You want to bet steak dinner on that too?
In 2012,
a steak dinner or a steak dinner, either one.
In 2012, I was on the vote yes amendment, right? Like I was a proud supporter. I'd wear my button around, right?
Ilhan was just joining us.
That marriage should be between a man and a woman, right? That is something that I hold strong. I realized, though, after it went to the ballot and it lost, that issue in Minnesota, that ship has been sailed. And at this point, there are so many, like being completely candid, there are so many gay Republicans that are out there. I'm telling you that the right thing for the Supreme Court would be to return gay marriage back to the states from a constitutional perspective. But I don't think I don't think there'd be a single state that would make it illegal. I think that every single state.
It was illegal before the president made it the law of the land. And excuse me, we thought the same thing that happened with Roe v. Just bet me a steak dinner.
What year did Obergefell? What year did the Supreme Court rule on Obergefell?
I don't know.
Okay. At that time, I believe there were 38 states that had passed gay marriage. 36 or 38. And I'm saying that since that time, especially with Trump being the first Republican before he got elected that said he supported gay marriage.
Really? How about his predecessor did that?
No, I said before
Republican, you're saying?
Republican, and before he ran for office. Because remember, Obama, when he was a candidate, was for civil unions.
Yes.
It wasn't until he's president that he came out.
And then because he said he evolved. But you're right. Go ahead.
So and I'm saying that Trump did that. So I'm saying that ship has sailed. So I think.
You think?
I've talked to so many different people. I don't think there'd be a single state that would have gay marriage. Like every state legislature would convene, and it's such a, in my opinion, it's such a settled cultural issue.
So was abortion.
No, it wasn't. No, that was the whole point, is that abortion isn't settled.
So then gay marriage is?
Yes.
Those 38 she's talking about.
Yeah.
How many of those states had Republican governors of those 38? Tonight,
A bunch.
Okay, tonight do the
Yeah.
math. No, in fact, I'll tell you, it was about a handful.
Yeah.
And those governors that were Republicans, they're not conservative. They're not considered conservative.
I'm telling you, there's been such a shift in this.
Okay,
there's
not
been
in your
such
party.
There's been such a shift in the
How
Republican Party.
come the log cabin Republicans don't have a bigger platform in your party? They don't. How come at the convention the homosexuals were treated the way they were? They're not talked about. That's not talked about.
That's a fair point. Listen, it's a fair point. But you want to know what was beautiful to see to prove my point? There was a small group, state central delegates, that really railroaded, and they pushed the time clock so it ran out so they could not reaffiliate. This is behind the curtain sausage being made. And so when that happened, so many of the normal delegates, so like state central's like 350 delegates, but the state convention's like 2,400 delegates. They were able to then reaffiliate all of these groups. So the larger body, right? The larger body, and again, we're talking about the difference between 350 to 2,400. You go across the whole state, I'm just telling you that there is not an appetite in any state. Like, I just don't think there's a single state that there'd be an appetite for it. That's just what my personal position is.
And I respect that, but that's wrong. And I bet you, again, let's bet a stake dinner that by 2024 that will be at the Supreme. That'll be at the desk on the Supreme Court.
Will actually take it up because
Shit.
I think only Thomas and maybe Alito would be willing to take on basically the due process clause to repeal and roll back, because when you looked at Thomas's concurring opinion, no one else joined him in that opinion. That was their chance. Like, if they would have had 5 justices join him,
you know why? Because the rest of them were smart not to voice their public opinion. Voice their opinion publicly.
Well, they're not as fundamentally.
And you see how they were
originalist as Thomas, which
he's not.
I am.
He's
if I was Supreme Court,
he's not.
Me and Thomas would be boys,
him and that
drinking back
big head
night.
wife of his that is conspired. I can't wait till they haul her ass down to the fucking
Jenny.
Yes,
I love Jenny. And
Jenny
Clarence,
with the
man.
G with her.
I love her.
Ooh, I was about to insult her ass. I can't wait till they haul her down in front of Congress and question her, because how in the hell?
Hey, she says she's excited for it.
Well, she should. The lying little. Listen, don't get me started on Jenny, because that to me is some BS. Look, you guys have been great tonight, man. See, this is what I'm saying. Our topics, you don't need a guest sometimes, because an hour goes so goddamn fast.
Yeah. So here's the deal. If you like what we do as a show, I'd ask that you visit our link tree and hit that Patreon link and become a subscriber. And the reason why is that this type of show, I would love to be able to do more than one show a week, because then we could have like one show that would be just topics and then one show that has just guests. That'd be awesome. So if you like what we do, helping us keep political discourse alive, please, visit our link tree, hit that, taking a selfie with Javon. That's awesome. Hitting that link tree, make sure to hit that Patreon link and be able to become a subscriber. Whether you're only going to, subscribe at $25 a month, or you want to do $300 a month, 100% of your subscription goes to produce this show. Also, if you're feeling generous, you want to give Jamar a late birthday present, give myself a late birthday present, you can hit that tip us link. But it also is going to give you all of our connections to our socials. I just put out another banger on my TikTok today. It's popping off about a conversation I had with my nieces.
I gotta start making more videos. I'd be so. Oh God! And let me say this too. What AK is neglected to mention too is that, listen, the biggest contributor, you'll sit right next to AK on a show, or we can Zoom. You can Zoom or something. But we want to show you
your boy Bernie, dog.
It's not my boy. We want to show our appreciation for your contributions and have you on the show. I mean, you're welcome to not come on, or even not mention your name, but as an appreciation, we'd like to show you, have you come on the show as one of our biggest contributors, and we'd appreciate that. So again, please, guys, we say this every week, and we certainly appreciate everyone that shows up, because sometimes we used to look at it and see that there's only 5, 6, 3 people, and then when you go after the show, you see a boatload of people. So thank you guys for that. But sincerely, like and share the show, guys. Contribute to the show. Help us keep political discourse alive, and showing the show to your friends. Folks like that come back every week. We love you guys and appreciate you. Give us some money, damn it.
Yeah. And,
Oh, exactly. You
if you want to see more of that sad face of Ilhan, that sad face. And in that same vein, helping keep political discourse alive, again, our new sponsor, Dennis Smith, the reason that he came on as a sponsor is because he really appreciated that that's what we do on the show. He himself wants to help keep, civility, like bring it back to having these conversations, because we don't want to have a civil war. I don't want a civil war.
No.
I'm too fragile for civil war.
Well, we're old school, and we try to show what political discourse should be.
But if you have any questions and you need help with a will, healthcare directive, trust, or just even help with your small business, make sure to give Dennis a call, 612-889-3971, or shoot him an email, dennis@smithlawmn.com. Give Dennis a call. He's a new sponsor and a friend of the show. That's about it, man.
Exactly. I felt like Vanna Black.
Vanna Black.
Yeah.
Instead of Vanna White. Wait, no, you'd be Vanessa Black.
Vanessa Black?
Yeah.
Or Vaughn. In black, you got to come up with a street name. Vaughn Black. Vaughn Black.
Well, we have a great guest lined up for next week. On Monday, we'll be kind of unveiling it. We just need to, we don't want to pump a guest that for sure. We don't have 100% confirmation, but it's going to be a really, really good one. It's a guest that we had before that was one of our higher watch shows. So please consider,
make sure you come back
and like it and share it.
Make sure you come back. I'm Jamar.
And I'm AK.
You guys have been great. We'll see you next week.
Peace.